Welcome, this is Dr. Tracy K. I love you in this place. Thanks for coming to listen to another spiritual vibe message. And I wanted to say thank you for all those who are following and subscribing. If you haven't already, do us a favor and you can check out all my messages by subscribing to my YouTube channel. It's Dr. Tracy K with an I, or following us on social media, which is the Working It Out series on Facebook, and our group if you're looking for spiritual support or anything on personal development. We have amazing groups, and the group for the spiritual support is called Spiritual Vibration Challenge. So it'll be facebook.com/group/spiritual vibration challenge. And of course, we have our Working It Out series group too. All kinds of groups. Come in there. I guarantee you, you will feel encouraged. You will be supported. I'm amazed how you can see all the amazing little motivational art and spiritual vibe messages that are in there. So let's get started. I wanted to talk to you today about being present. Yes, being present, meaning in the moment, living in the present. What does that actually mean? Being in the present. Being present has many titles. It's being that you could say present, or you can be in the moment, being in the now, and even mindfulness. The benefits are within reach no matter which one you choose to follow. Um, at each representing of a state of being, and our being is so much more deeper when we're talking about spirituality. Fully engaged is what we're talking about in the moment, both mentally and emotionally. It's a state of complete awareness. A lot of times, most of us, and you know it's true, we're always thinking about the past, how they've harmed us, how they've hurt us, how things that they've done to us, or things that have happened to us, things that caused us the situation or in the past, or focusing on the future. Big thing is about manifestations or reaching that goal, reaching those goals. Once you reach a goal, we want to reach more goals and goals and goals and goals. But a lot of times we don't realize that we're missing out. Maybe, you come home and you're like, hey, how you doing? How's everything? It's fine. Everything good? Yeah, nothing. Just same old, same old. It happens every time. You're not And so you go about your day, and the people that you are around or that you're supposed to be connected to, you've lost that connection. And it can be frustrating at times, because if they've hurt you in the past, or if they've done some wrong to you or said some things, it kind of dwells on you. Or maybe you're focusing on what the future could hold, because maybe there's so many things going on with you right now, you're trying to focus on the future, because maybe they're constantly complaining or nagging about something, and you seem like you can always never be enough, and you're trying to reach. And they're always focusing on criticizing you instead of uplifting you. And that's the bad thing about the ones that we love, the ones that are supposed to be our family and our friends, or most of the time, there's not many of that as a friendship. Fly by night, they don't really focus on connecting. And so it's sad. And we're out of touch because we're all about social media. But that doesn't mean we still can't try to focus on the moment. So being in complete awareness, mindfulness is paying attention at the present moment, and those undistracted by those thoughts. And that is the one thing that the enemy wants, or some of you might call the devil, so to speak. But they want you to constantly judge, constantly never sit. So when we're trying to live a spiritual life, we're sinners, of course. I'm a sinner. I make mistakes. I do it to my loved ones. You do it to your loved ones. You can't. you've been hurt, they've hurt you, they constantly, maybe you've grown up in abuse, maybe you've grown up with you're never good enough and they constantly, that's all they do is criticize. You don't want to be around it anymore. Of course, it's okay to be distant, but that, you know, and that's fine, and you shouldn't be because that's a form of abuse. But you need to understand that while you are in the present moment, that doesn't mean you should not stay, that you should connect in some way. Because no matter what, it is a a journey. So you have to accept and understand that. Yeah, you can't change who your parents are. You can't change who your job is, but you can actually focus on the state of awareness, complete awareness is, and accept and then act. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you chose it. Every time we think, well, you made those decisions, a lot of times it isn't always us. It's the loved ones or the outside influence because they don't want to see you happy. They don't want to, they're just not happy with themselves. So they want to keep you in that terrible misery of life. So when you don't want to do that, you want to miraculously transform your whole life, you have to make a decision. Now, they're sinners. They understand that we're supposed to show kindness and mercy because that is what Jesus teaches us. And the only way we are able to be alive of grace with our sins is because he sacrificed so many of others in our lives in order for us to have this moment. So we need to be grateful and thankful as that moment is present. So people don't understand, yeah, but I've got to focus on this. I got to say her past judgment, judgment, judgment. But who are we to judge? It states in a lot of the things, like if you look at your Psalm 107, there's so many areas of that psalm that can show you that we're not supposed to judge. Who are we to judge? Who are we to criticize? In if you want to get another resource, you can look at John. John talks about that also, and I the objective is to be mindfully gathering information that is more objective and participating so it moves us through that energy of judgment for because in a long run the blood has been covered of us to allow us because there is the law, the universal law. I mean, there's state, there's federal, but there's also universal laws. God's law. So, like in the Ark of the Covenant, you have commandment laws. But when they took and they put the blood over the Ark of the Covenant, that blood is what protects us and gives us mercy and kindness because, God actually said, okay, I'm doing this in order for you guys to be forgiven, to fight the enemy, to fight the devil, to fight that. It's the same as when he was. I mean, Lucifer was an archangel. He, what a lot of times, and I'm going to give you these examples because a lot of times we think, well, what has God done for us? I will, I will, I will, because as it be free to be done, I will be done. So when it comes to this, you're waiting and waiting for waiting. When is it going to be done? When is it going to be done? Like, okay, so I'm going to act in my own will, and it's still not reaching the destiny. So it could be 5, 10 years from now. I myself gone through it. I understand it, and you get stuck. And it's a stuck, but it's not just about you. It's about what's around you at the present moment because you're constantly fighting that energy of that constant being programmed in that type of way where you were constantly criticized, you were constantly put down, you're constantly around people that could stand if you act to see if you had because you had this gift. You were born with this gift, and so they're going to constantly always want to try to pull you. Am I right? So good. Everybody understand that clearly? Yes. So it's a witness. We witness our own environment and expansion. So what we need to do is shake and understand our present and mindfully pause and gather so we can do a ritual, and I highly suggest this every morning because number one, thank you, Jesus. Thank you for this. Thank you for giving me this food. Thank you for giving me this amazing place that I live in, roof over head. Thank you for these clothes. Oh my gosh, goodness gracious. And it's so, whether others have put us in that stuck situation, and maybe it's because of a control thing, or I don't know, like narcissistic, whatever the reason is of an imprisonment to you, you feel like you are, you need to look at the moment. And yes, it might be an imprisonment for you right now. It might be something that you're not happy with right now. But I guarantee you, it's a, it's not, because you are destined to be somebody. You are somebody. You are destined. And the thing you have to understand is no matter what anybody does, no matter what anybody does, you cannot do anything to keep you from your destiny. It is you. And you must understand how to keep going in that. But so if you look back and you constantly do the present, it's bringing you in that stuck mode again. And we're all guilty of it. Every one of us. And so it stacks us, and then we get caught back into that. And yes, sometimes because we're human, we need to take that break and go through it, and push through it, and take that present to heal and come back into our own present self and come back to say, thank you, please forgive, I'm forgiven, I'm a sinner, please forgive me, I'm a sinner. Please forgive me for getting angry at this person. Please forgive me for being so judgmental. Please for having this anger. Sometimes you don't even know it comes through because it could be an underlying medical condition. It could be a trauma. It could be healed. So you need that healing energy. Yes, we say things to things, people. Yes, we do things. And it's hard to understand it. But that's the problem. If you don't forgive those people, if you don't try to heal those wounds by forgiving, because you need to show mercy. Targeted. What did you do? You always say, "Oh, I don't." It's their fault. Their fault. No, because maybe they're actually showing you something about yourself in the mirror, a mirror reflection. And so, when we look to that, we have to look at our inner child and have an understanding of what is our wounds and ask and reflect on that, and so we can heal that energy and find a self-discovery which begins our roots. And that's when we have to say being present is the now. Being present is a necessary piece of our awakening as it allows you to open your mind to perceive the moment. Each moment is unique opportunity, missed when we less engage. This is why we have to look at what is available to us. And so we miss things if we don't present which means practice. Living in present as a process to encourage our minds to open, perceive, and I guarantee you, if you practice this, if you try it, you will see that at that present moment, when you practice and you put things into perspective as a perception, and you'll see benefits, and you'll be like, aha, what you didn't see before, you see now, because you've actually set it up, and now you can receive it easily. And you can say, where you couldn't even know it, and it was right there in front of your face. Okay? Living in the past is just a memory. It's no longer existing. You have been forgiven, you're healed thanks to Jesus, thanks to the things that have been sacrificed in our life, thanks to all those who sacrifice in our life to be free and have that free will. And living in the future can be just a dream, but practicing in the present is going to allow us to stop us from wallowing around. Now, there are triggers, yes, explain yourself, and there can be that, and those are tough things. like people who have PTSD or people who are going through transitions in their life. And this is what you need to see in your marriages or your relationship. Say you've been married for 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. You cannot just look at that person as they were when you first started dating them. Like when you said, oh gosh, guarantee you, every one of you, when you started dating your wife now or your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, that you've had to get them together for a long time, you focused in the now, didn't you? Like, I know men, how they are. Anything that she wanted to do, I was doing when I was dating her. Right? Am I right? So good. If she wanted to go chase butterflies, I'd go chase butterflies with her. Okay? She wanted to skip the loo. I was skipping the loo. I mean, you were doing that, but she has changed. What she was when she was in her 20s and 30s, she's no longer like that in her 50s. She has new goals. She's changed. You cannot look to her like she was. And so that's a lot of the problems. You need to adjust and adapt to connect because you're not connected anymore. You're talking about, well, I'm just, because of the hurt, because of things she said, because of her nagging, I'm just going to disconnect and work on my car in the garage and live my life in the garage or go to my buddy's house or hang out with my friends or whatever. Find something to do. That's the situation here. There's a moment that you will not feel whole and complete. When you look to the outside, you'll find that it's not all what you cracked up to be, and it's missing. So there's a reason why you were brought together. You know, either the higher power, God brought you together, or your soulmates. There's a reason why. You need to learn things. Learn things. It's not about what you're doing. It's about the journey. So that's teaching you something for whatever your destiny is. No matter what you try to do, your destiny is your destiny. So the solution to all these is, and I'm going to give you an example, is being present. And one little example is, I'm going to give you a scripture. Have you all heard of the coat of many colors, Joseph? Joseph is in the scripture, and he was blessed, and God anointed him, told him he was going to be a ruler, right? And what happened was, he was favored by his father, so his brothers were really jealous of that. And I'm sure you have that in your life, right? So think about this. So Joseph, his coat of colors was this thing that was given to him, made to him by his father, and the brothers took his coat off of him and threw him in a pit and sold him to slavery. And in return, they killed an animal and put blood all over his coat and brought it back to his father and said, "Oh, it was so sad. He got killed by an animal, and everything." And father was just so distraught. And what they did, they sold Joseph into slavery. And Joseph was sold to slavery to this high minister, or this high mercenary, or a soldier type of garb thing. And there was all these things that happened to him, and there was this woman involved, and there was things that going on throughout him time when he was a slave to this general or whatever army mercenary. So, and because he didn't favor and didn't do what she wanted, so when she started, there were lies told about him, and things and deception and gossip and lies, and people started leaving, and so they imprisoned him and separated him, imprisoned him, and so he was in this situation where it was not very good. And maybe you felt like that in your own life. Maybe there's been things that happened. Your own family's done that to you, or your coworkers, or things that happened to your life, and that's exactly how you feel. And you feel like you've been imprisoned in this place for 10, 15 years, or 7, 8 years, or that way. But did Joseph complain? He was in that life, but he stayed in the present and now, and created his own awareness and positivity in who he was in the now, and so it ended up where he was favored because he had this gift of vision, and so he was brought to the high council, and because the rumor got back that he had helped this other inmate about understanding his dream. And so it got word because the high council, he was like, well, I'm having these issues. I need to know. I need a sorcerer. I need somebody that has visions. And brought him to this high council. He ended up becoming this right hand man. And then later on, he became very well known and a high authority in the high council, and received all kinds of blessings, and God made sure he was still going to be at his destiny, because God said, you're going to be receiving this, you're going to be this high council authority. And it came down to it to where his own family had to, his brothers and stuff, came and couldn't believe it, and ended up having to bow to him and beg for the needs of what they were going through. And Joseph could have done anything. He could have thrown him to the tigers and had him mauled or killed or whatever. But he didn't. He didn't. He showed mercy. He showed mercy. And that's very tough to do. So I want to talk about this, being in the present is part to be things that you can do. There are techniques. Morning rituals are a great way to do this because they can help you relieve that anger or stress. So you want to sit quietly and you want to breathe. You want to practice a morning ritual so where your mind doesn't wander, and so you're not detached. Natural breathing, relaxing, being grateful. And when you wake up in the morning, put joy into your heart. That's another technique. Have joy in your heart. I love my emotional support animals. My kitty cats are the joy. They put so much joy in my heart. Put something next to you when you sleep that makes you, so you look at it when you think it. Listen to something of music, so to speak. There's lots of rituals you can do to help you with this, so you can enjoy a more peaceful, less worrying, and even though you're in this so-called imprisonment, you feel stuck in your life, you can still live in that joy. Living in that joy, being present, is what it's about. Can I get something great about this? Can you feel so good because you gotta shout praise out? You gotta shout praise to the fact that you are present, that you are here, that you are a child of the Most High. You are gifted. You will have it. He's not forgiving you. Your higher power not forgiving you. Your destiny is still there. You are royalty. You have to believe in joy. Because no matter what anybody else says or does to you, maybe you feel imprisoned right now and stuck because of that and because of them, that doesn't mean you shouldn't keep focused and living in the present and the now. I think that's great because you got to shout it praise. Shout, I am grateful. I am thankful. I am so here. I'm alive. I'm present. Joy in my heart. Look at everything around you that you've accomplished and say thank you. Have mercy. Try to forgive. Forgiveness. It's very tough, I know. And you might backslide. I backslide. Everybody backslide. But you can do this and come back. And I totally believe that keeping with the morning rituals, taking your breaks, breathing in that amazing, wonderful blessing that we have. You can do things that give you a shift of energy. Gardening, dance, oh my gosh, laughing. If there's anything you can do in your love life or your marriage or anything is laughing. That's one thing I notice. I have a family member who says one thing she is always about is she tries to do whatever she can to laugh, and she has this there's people that have that laughter that's just like wow, but that's what you do. You want to that's the one thing is laughing, doing some morning rituals. All can be helpful to you to understand that time is your present, being present. It is your power within that you can cultivate that moment to something that's amazing. So you're fully engaged, so you can see the blessings that are so wide, so you can receive them. And I think that is something that everybody should try. Don't you think? Aren't you so grateful for that? Oh my goodness, breathe that in. Oh goodness, breathe that in and say, oh yeah, that feels wonderful. I feel it. I feel that joy. I feel that present. I'm in the present and I'm aware right now. So good. And I love this message that I'm giving you today. And so take that in and stay tuned so you can get your gift. What a great message that was, being present. So I'm going to take this time to bless you and offer you this wonderful in kind, with your in kind donation of $30 or more, you can receive our this workbook called The Morning Rituals. On top of that, get an amazing full session that has a booster to it to your morning rituals. It'll give you all the guides you need, give you everything that you can, give you tips on how it benefits with you, and awareness, perception, all the things that'll benefit you to increase your productivity, your energy, and your happiness. So go get that right now and enjoy, and I'll let us know how you're doing in the group. Take care.